It affects 1 in 2,500 people around the world, and it is the most inherited neurological condition affecting children and adults right around the world, but nobody seems to know what it is. Today we're discussing Charcot-Marie-Tooth, directly with the people that it does affect. I'm Charlotte Pierce and this is the Truth About CMT.
CMT is a nerve and muscle disorder that is progressive the older you get.
CMT is a neuromuscular disability. It's a disease that's neuromuscular, meaning it is a problem with the nerves connecting the brain to the muscles.
Those nerves are long and thin because they have to travel all the way from the spinal cord all the way down the length of our arms and the length of our legs. And around the nerves themselves is a layer of fatty tissue called myelin, which acts as an insulation for the nerve. And that helps speed up the nerve signals. There's a problem either with the long thin bit of the nerve or the problem of the surrounding fatty tissue that insulates it.
CMT was named after the 3 scientists who first described it in 1886. These were Jean-Martin Charcot, Pierre-Marie and Howard Tooth. They published their original description of 5 patients who had what they called progressive muscular atrophy, which was later called Charcot-Marie-Tooth disease. CMT has many different symptoms depending on the person. These include muscle weakness, an awkward way of walking, hammer toes, foot drop, numbness in the feet, and more. One foundation that works to empower those with CMT and research for a cure are the Charcot-Marie-Tooth Association.
My name is Jonah Berger, and I am the National Youth Programs Manager for the CMTA. And what that translates to is that it's my responsibility to develop and, working with many other people, implement programming for the youth, mostly around the theme of connecting youth to other youth who have CMT, connecting families to other families who have CMT. So the 2 major kind of missions for the CMTA is to cure CMT and to support those living with CMT in the process.
CMT can differ from person to person. Some people might have severe CMT and be in a wheelchair with extreme muscle weakness. Others might be able to live a normal life without pain and without severe muscle weakness and nerve damage.
CMT impacted me quite a bit when I was younger. I had high arches on my feet, but it wasn't so bad as some people have it. I was quite fortunate.
Well, it impacts me more in mobility more than anything. Most of my life is okay. I cope with it. It's like I get these pins and needles in my foot. I can go over on my ankle quite a bit. It's like your balance is not as good as it should be.
So when I was young, it affected me. I wasn't particularly good at sports or running, and walking was difficult. I used to get quite a lot of pain in my right leg, particularly in the back of my right thigh.
Although there is no cure for CMT currently, there are treatments that can help people with pain management and living with their daily life. For example, a person might have surgery or they might have leg braces to help them walk. These are called AFOs.
So AFOs stands for ankle foot orthoses, and these are made by specialists called orthotists. Ankle foot orthoses come in lots of different forms, but they're all designed to try and help support your foot and your ankle.
CMT can also be managed with physiotherapy to make sure that muscle weakness does not get worse.
So physios can give you ideas on how to stretch muscles, but they can also give you lots of ideas on how to keep active, because we know it's really important to keep as active as you can if you have CMT.
Although there is no cure for CMT currently, there is research underway to deliver treatments and cures for those with Charcot-Marie-Tooth.
Research happens through what's called the STAR initiative, Strategy to Accelerate Research. And what I always try to explain that as is that there were a lot of very, very smart doctors out there all around the world working to cure CMT, but they were working separately. And I think it made better sense for these researchers to come together, combine their data, combine their research, combine their efforts. Instead of doing the same thing in separate places, they became organized and they created STAR.
It is important for the people who have CMT to keep a positive mindset, helping them realise they're not alone. It can be hard to live with a disease that is not understood yet. Here is some advice for those living with Charcot-Marie-Tooth.
I would say reach out and find other people that have CMT. There's lots of people with CMT out there, and that you're not alone, and there's loads of advice. Go to your doctor and your medical team, as well as talk to your family, and they can point you in the direction of other people to talk to.
We always advise that it shouldn't limit what you want to do with your life, career, sports, activities, whatever. There's always ways that you can find, even if you might find some activities slightly more difficult, there's always ways to participate.
It's a lot better to go through something when you know that you're not alone and there's people that can relate to your struggles.
That in addition to having a disease, they're also now part of a community.
The truth about CMT has now been told. We talked about what it is and how it affects people across the globe. I hope that the previously untold condition has now been covered adequately, and I hope you've learned something about CMT. I thank you for watching, and this was the truth about CMT.